Trump has said he will push Putin, but he says a lot of things. And Putin has so far ignored Trump's calls for a ceasefire, and Trump has let Putin get away with it. The US can put much more economic pressure on Russia, and it can do more to provide arms to Ukraine. If Trump is serious about pushing Putin into ending the war, he can show some of that pressure. Now, the meeting's going on as we speak, so I don't know how it will turn out. I think President Trump set up this meeting based on a mistaken report by his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, that Putin was ready to make a reasonable deal. Whether that's because Witkoff misheard Putin or Putin was deceptive, I can't say. But when it became clear that the Russians were holding to their maximal positions, Trump realized he had to put pressure on Putin or look like he was being played, look like a sucker. So we will see whether Trump does. There are various views and many predictions. He could put pressure on Putin. Putin could offer him something, although Putin is more likely to be slippery, to make long speeches about history and try to avoid any concrete steps that would end the war. We'll find out soon enough. Well, the Russians will no doubt use this to sort of show that territory can be changed and borders can be redrawn, because that's what they want to do with Ukraine. Whether or not they get away with it depends on how the summit goes. If Trump pushes back on Putin or Putin actually offers a reasonable deal, that symbolism won't matter. If the summit is a disaster, then there will be many questions as to why Trump agreed to it in the first place, and the venue, Alaska, will be only one of those questions. Ukraine has the leverage that it has not been defeated. The Russians keep pushing, they keep attacking, they make very small advances at very high cost. Recent days, there were some stories that the Russians had made a substantial advance. Well, in the last 24 hours, it looks like the Ukrainians have launched a counterattack to cut off the Russians. The fact is, the Ukrainians have held out. Putin hates that because Ukraine is supposed to be an inferior nation, and yet it has held off the Russians for more than 3 years fighting on its own. It's true that they've had weapons from the West, but Putin has had troops from North Korea. So if you think about it, this is actually quite a humiliation for Putin. Russia has not been able to beat Ukraine, despite the predictions of most analysts 3.5 years ago that the war would be over very quickly and Ukraine would lose. Not true. Well, you've made indirectly a pretty good point there, which is there should be nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. Earlier this week, President Trump was still criticizing Zelensky, pushing him to concede territory. That was not good. But Trump dropped that when it became clear that Putin wasn't putting anything serious on the table. And Trump has even said that Donald Trump, can't make decisions about Ukrainian territory without Ukraine. So that's an improvement.